Hi, I'm Kinsey. Thanks so much for joining our presentation today. We're going to be going over unwrapping Spotify Wrapped. It is that time of year, of course, but this time you're not just a listener, you're the investigator. Today we'll really be diving into the mechanics, the ethics, and the social impact of Spotify Wrapped. So for this project, we really wanted to dive into the concerns behind Spotify Wrapped, which is a compilation of users' top songs, artists, and it's been a super successful Spotify campaign that many users look forward to every single year. And we really want to explore the different implications behind the ethics and what makes this campaign so successful. And we want to really dive into the data privacy, data mining, and algorithms used by Spotify Wrapped, as well as the impact and ethical concerns to really motivate our audience to think about the everyday apps, websites, and everything that really concerns all their different uses with social media and these campaigns that are similar. So that is, of course, why it matters. We want to have our users understand how the algorithms shape their world, explore how companies use different user data, and learn to navigate the ethical implications of technology. And Spotify Wrapped really taps into human psychology to really hook us in every single year using quantitative fixation, social comparison, curiosity, and nostalgia through different story posts, different methods, different metrics, all through their engaging social media campaign. So today, as I said, we're going to learn about the history, the different algorithms, how data is collected and stored, and personalization. We're going to learn about the social implications from mental health to comparison, and we're going to really see how it thrives on social media through likes, shares, and trends. Here's a video that you can watch to learn more about why it's so hooked for Spotify Wrapped, why people get so obsessed every single year, and the psychology behind it. Then after that, you can really test your knowledge with this little quiz. And let's just go ahead and get started. So the history of Spotify Wrapped, it all began back in 2015 when Spotify first launched their Your Year in Music campaign. This was a very bare bones, simple campaign that really grew into what we know today. Before the colorful graphics and playlists, it was just the top songs listened to the most, top artists, and the number of minutes streamed by that user. Then a couple of years later in 2017, it really expanded to include the artist and the different advertisers on Spotify. Then in 2019, it was built into the Spotify application, which formerly it was just an external site that people would have to navigate to. And then it really became what we know today. And it expanded even further into social media stories, which is the Wrapped that we all know and love. And this really allowed the data to explode and be shared easily all over Instagram, which you can see here below all the calls to action and the different important share buttons and the great UI that we all recognize. So as you can see, Spotify Wrapped grew a lot from 2016 with 20 million users all the way up to 2020 with 90 million and even today with over 200 million.
Hey guys, my name is Allison. So, have you ever wondered how it all works? How does your music know you better than you know yourself? Well, it's all about its algorithm. It's nice to know that Spotify has all the music you like to listen to, even when your mood varies. It has a playlist for just that. And this is all thanks to the power of data mining to keep note of your listening habits, analyze your likes and dislikes, and generate recommendations based on your taste profile. According to Spotify, every time you listen to a song, skip a track, save something to your library, or share a playlist, Spotify is gathering that data to build a picture of your musical preferences. It's like your personal DJ. Let's take, for example, that you are an active listener of Harry Styles. Spotify will start recommending the whole One Direction crew. Spotify's algorithm understands the connections between artists and songs, and it suggests music that aligns with your taste. Here's something a lot of users don't realize though. Every time you use Spotify, you are sharing personal information. Spotify's user agreement outlines that they track a few things such as your location, age, language, and what artists you follow. For example, if you tend to listen to music in a specific language, Spotify can recommend songs and artists with lyrics in that language, thanks to something called natural language processing. This helps Spotify understand cultural preferences and tailors music recommendations that reflect your background or preferences. So if you're someone who listens to a lot of Spanish language pop, don't be surprised when more Latin artists pop up in your recommendations. Spotify also looks at the characteristics of the music you listen to. Let's take Sabrina Carpenter. If you're on her artist profile, you might see a list of related artists who sound similar often from the same genre and maybe even of a similar cultural or racial background. It's Spotify's way of grouping music that fits within your taste, but also connects you to new artists you might not have heard of yet. Now that we know how Spotify collects your data, let's dive into Spotify Wrap. From January 1st to October 31st, Spotify is gathering and analyzing your listening habits. They track everything from your most played songs to the albums you stream the most, the artists you couldn't stop listening to, and even how many minutes you spent listening to music. Your top five favorite songs and artists are all based on data like how often you listen to a track, how many times you replayed it, or even how much you skipped it. If you don't believe me, just take a look at these animations and the video link down below. So while it's fun to get your Spotify wrapped and reflect on your top songs and artists, it's also a reminder that Spotify knows you a bit better than your best friend when it comes to your listening experiences, of course. It raises important questions about data privacy and how platforms like Spotify use our information. But at the end of the day, it's all about creating a personalized experience that feels special. And we want to know what your Spotify personality is. So just take the quiz whenever you're done reading the article. Now on to ethics.
As I mentioned, with our website, we hope to motivate our audience to think about the everyday apps, websites, and any other social media that they use, along with the ethical concerns that surround them. This page dives into the privacy and security issues associated with mobile applications such as Spotify and how the data collected can be used by companies. We used research articles to gather information for this page. We begin with a short quiz so that users can engage more with the site and remember the definitions on this page, since data privacy vocabulary is not common knowledge. This page explores privacy issues, which arise when data is collected by the app more than is expected by the user. An example of this is the collection of PII, which is information that allows an individual to be identified. Another issue that arises is the connections that Spotify has with other apps. Deep linking occurs when there is partnership and information sharing between apps. For example, did you know that Tinder uses Spotify's data to find better matches for their users? All this information was not found on Tinder's nor Spotify's privacy policies. Other third-party providers that Spotify shares their information with are Google Analytics and AppFlyer. Overall, it's important for people to know what the apps are collecting, because these apps can leak personal information that can then be used and manipulated by cyber criminals. On top of this, it is done without the user's knowledge. This is especially crucial as we are living in a time where technology is growing so rapidly and data is being stored so quickly. We would then move on to the social impacts of Spotify Wrapped. This page explores how and some of the reasons why users may manipulate the Spotify Wrapped. A lot of people will try to listen to their favorite artists, songs, or albums before the October 31st deadline. In doing so, their top results are manipulated and therefore don't truly reflect the user's listening habits. We have a quick survey on this page just to see what our user does, just for our reference. We also have what makes Spotify Wrapped so compelling. So why do people want to manipulate Spotify Wrapped? We have a short infographic with information taken from research article that guides you through the top 4 behavioral research reasons of why people care about Spotify Wrapped and why they care so much about changing it. Lastly, we have a podcast that describes Spotify Wrapped's growing presence in social media.
Spotify's taking things to a whole new level with some exciting AI features. Let's dive in. If you're a podcast lover, this one's for you. Spotify has introduced a brand new AI podcast that gives you a personalized rundown of your 2024 Wrapped. No more reading, just listening. This has been curated by the help of Google Notebook LM, where these voices break down your top songs and artists in a way your favorite podcast would. They even address you by name. You could be on a run or getting ready for work, and instead of scrolling through your Wrapped, you can just kick back and listen to it all unfold. Last year, Spotify introduced the AI DJ, and now it's even better. Exclusively for premium users, the AI DJ, known as DJX, serves up the soundtrack of your year, including how much time you spent listening and which genres you vibe with the most. This feature isn't just for English speakers anymore. It's now available in Spanish too. making the experience even more accessible for a global audience. Whether you're in the mood to relive your top moments of the year or discover new jams, the AI DJ has you covered, and it feels like having your own personal DJ. Now, for the playlist lovers, Spotify has launched AI playlists for premium users. It's like having your own personal music curator, one that knows exactly what you love. You can ask AI to create a playlist based on any of your Wrapped highlights. Want a new playlist that's inspired by your top 5 songs of the year? The AI will do just that. It's as simple as saying, hey, make me a new playlist, and the AI will curate something totally unique to your taste. So, what's new for Spotify Wrapped in 2024? The future is now AI. Whether you're turning into the AI podcast for a personalized breakdown of your music year, jamming to the AI DJ, or asking the AI playlist to create something new, there's a lot to look forward to. And we want to know what you want to ask your AI playlist to create for you by taking the survey below.
Thanks so much for listening to our presentation. Here are our resources all cited. We have our resources from our articles and our images. We hope you learned some about data collection and how Spotify Wrapped impacts you and the ethics behind it. All right, can you stop sharing?